out because there's interest in our government. You know my story. I was born and raised in Norwalk, lived here my entire life. Went to Norwalk Public Schools, and when I graduated Norwalk High School, my father had died when I was very young, so my mother couldn't afford to send me to college. So I decided to go into the military and start growing up. I served 4 years in the military during the Vietnam era, and I came back to Norwalk afterwards. Came back to Norwalk with a wife and a daughter. So, staying in Norwalk, my children all went to Norwalk Public Schools. I'm a product of Norwalk Public Schools, as I mentioned. And I was fortunate enough to be appointed to the police department, where I served for 41 years, protecting the city of Norwalk. Served 17 years as chief. During that time, working full-time and raising a family, I went to school at Iona College in New Rochelle. Earned a bachelor's degree in criminal justice, graduating summa cum laude. Then I went on to the University of New Haven, where I earned a master's degree in public administration, with a concentration on labor relations and human resource management. So that's my story. And I love Norwalk, and I'm running on my record, a record of which I am extremely proud. You know, we start talking about the lack of a budget in the state of Connecticut. Well, you know, that was very troubling. And I have a good news, bad news situation. Bad news is, we don't get a lot of money from the state of Connecticut. The good news is, we don't get a lot of money from the state of Connecticut. Because if they decide to cut our budget or cut our revenue, it can't hurt us as much as it hurts some other states, some other cities. So we have maintained our AAA bond rating. Standard & Poor's has just issued a report saying that Norwalk is probably the only city in the state that will be able to come through the budget crisis unscathed. That is because when we were under a lot of pressure to draw down on our rainy day fund and give the money away and spend irresponsibly, we decided that we were not going to do that. So we saved that money in our rainy day fund, and now, as a result of that, we are not going to have to, like some cities, issue a supplemental tax bill because we don't get enough money. We can pay it down with our rainy day fund and still maintain our AAA bond rating. And we're proud of that. Not only did we do that, but during the past 3 years, we have had the lowest mill rate increases historically. Now, in a non-reval year, the only thing that affects your tax base is the mill rate. So your tax base, your taxes obviously did go up a little bit, but not as much as they had in the past. During that time, we were also able to implement 3 years of senior tax relief. Something that is very important because we want to keep our seniors here in the city of Norwalk. Education. We have invested $130 million in our school infrastructure, the largest investment historically in our school system. Schools that were neglected, schools that were overcrowded, schools that if you plugged in your computer, it would blow a circuit. We need to take care of it. We need to give our young people a world-class education and make sure that they have a good, solid education and a good, solid place in order to learn. Are you kidding me?
No,
wow.
I'm not.
Okay, so not only that, but we gave the Board of Education the largest operating budget increase so they could implement their strategic plan. As a result of that, they have reduced the achievement gap by 1/3 in 1 year. When I first took office, we had lost $1 billion on our grant list. We have now recovered 40% of that. 40% of that money in 3 years. And the grand list continues to grow. We stand up for Norwalk. I'm fighting for Norwalk on the walk bridge. I'm fighting for Norwalk. We fought when they wanted to take away the buffer between Norwalk Community College and Boulder Road. When we had the Al-Madani Center, instead of settling and building, we worked with this Al-Madani Center and we said, look, we're going to help you find a place. And we've recovered most of the money that cost us. So we're fighting for Norwalk all the time. And I want to thank you all for being here.